keep it hood. Sell your soul with a brick in the wood. See just bug, keep in the club, ride the rug, ride the dub. All I do is party. All I do is party.
I started doing Girl Talk right when I started college in 2000. So back then I was really in the earliest Girl Talk stuff is a lot more experimental electronic. So I loved live electronic music shows, and that was never like dance clubs or like, that was more like laptop, art gallery, chin stroke style stuff. But I like that a lot. But I always love I'd see all sorts of stuff from hip-hop to electronic to rock, but, always, even dating back to high school, just constantly going out and seeing as much music as possible. But personally, I always love shows that, I love the kind of in-your-face stuff, and especially on a smaller level, at the more DIY-style venues and stuff like that. I love a band that's not afraid to, kick someone in the audience or,
weird some people out.
Yeah, or just any sort of way, just do something to kind of, crush that, typical, like, the form of what the show's supposed to be like. So, that's something that I actively, participated in, and, I feel like every project I've done, you don't have to party at the show. You can come and watch the show, and it can be just like watching a rock concert. I think that's an option. So I think it kind of bridges that gap between, traditional house party and a more traditional kind of rock experience. So I think that's been kind of the key, that it's not like going to a dance club where it's like, oh, we gotta like behave ourselves and not elbow somebody. It's like, I feel like at the shows there are no rules, and you can mosh, or you can crowd surf, or you can dance, or you can do whatever. It's just it is truly a free for all, and I think people take into that.
So can you talk about the creative process of building these mashups? Mm-hmm. The lyrics ever go into that thought process? Or what is that creative process?
For me, I guess just with the lyrical aspect, for me it's like it's a real trial and error process. So I work every day, and playing shows is always a great opportunity to try out new things. And with the show, I'm always trying to experiment and see what's going to translate and see what doesn't work and that sort of thing. But for me, it's like with any piece of vocals or any instrumental, it's like there are hundreds of combinations that could potentially work. So whenever I'm documenting an album or actually getting to that point of releasing something, it's kind of like the finalized form. I want to make sure it's 100%. So for me, it's always like musically what works first, just in terms of it's more of like the delivery of the vocals or the cadence and things like that, the more like musical aspects as opposed to the actual lyrical content. And then, but secondary, oftentimes, I try to make connections between the songs, or even, I always want it to be transformative. So, it would be fun and enjoyable for me to make an album where it was all hip-hop mixed with hip-hop. That would be something I would enjoy listening to, but it's less of a challenge, or less of kind of creating something of your own. So, in order to make something transformative, oftentimes it's about, changing the context as much as possible. So oftentimes just taking a song with, potentially sappy lyrics and putting it over very aggressive music, or putting, very vulgar lyrics over a kind of soft rock AM romantic hit or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you have a knack for kind of making these vulgar hip-hop songs into sentimental ballads. Mm-hmm. Do you consider that like an MO of yours? Do you think about that?
We got them going down for the game. Yes, sir, it's the beast from Decatur. Can't see enemies and the haters. Real sharp on my thing like a razor. Blade come clean like a shaper. So I guess I get a game of taper. But everybody gon' feel the need to say something, but can't speak up whenever you face something.
It's funny because I feel like that is my favorite. If I had a particular favorite style, it's that. Obviously I try to jump around as much as possible and have everything, but I like rap music like that. Like I just went to the Jay-Z Kanye show 2 days ago, and I was like, man, probably the best beat ever in my opinion is the Hard Knock Life beat. That's my favorite beat, and that's like, that would be, absolutely up. That's just like, to me, it's like the Smells Like Teen Spirit of sampling or something. The flipping an Annie sample into like a song that everyone loves. Not that everyone didn't already love the Annie song, but just stuff like that. So I like a lot of music like that. So yeah, it definitely seems like one of those things where, there's so much stuff on the album, but I definitely think it's almost like I never choose a single, or whenever I put out an album, I don't know what people are going to like or dislike, and, people choose specific parts or songs, and that kind of becomes, the single or what people know, or the more notable parts, and oftentimes it happens to be those flips of more aggressive style lyrical content over the soft ballad thing. So yeah, I don't know, I guess that's what works best maybe.
We got 'em going down for the count. Looking at the